How did that love of the game fuel your career?
It was the basis of my career. My love of the game within my contract, which, I'm pretty sure most contracts now, I'm actually positive now, don't have that clause within the contract.
One place where he often invoked that clause was in late-night games at his summer basketball camp for kids at suburban Elmhurst College. On many hot summer nights after the young basketball campers went to bed, Michael would join in fierce basketball battles against the college players helped to run the camp.
Everybody's so worried about everything else now instead of what it was built on, like your game, competing, winning, going out there, giving everything you got. It's like everybody's so caught up in all the shit that don't matter anymore.
You see the players of today's basketball with that mindset to achieve greatness?
It's hard to be hungry when you have. Simple as that.
Michael Jordan just said something about today's NBA players that sent real shockwaves through the basketball world. And before this gets brushed off as another legend taking shots at the new era, you need to understand what's actually being exposed here. Jordan isn't talking about skill, talent, or athletic ability. And that's exactly why this hits so hard. What he's pointing out is something deeper, something quietly eating away at the core of basketball itself. By the end of this video, it'll be clear why this isn't nostalgia talking, but a serious warning that deserves attention. When Jordan does interviews now, he usually keeps things tight and calculated because he knows every word gets replayed and dissected. But his recent NBC interview was different. He slipped in a comment that, if you really listen, cut straight through the noise. According to Jordan, too many players today lose their hunger the moment they make it, and he backed that up with a story that perfectly shows the gap between his era and today's NBA.
How did that love of the game fuel your career?
It was the basis of my career. My love of the game within my contract, which, I'm pretty sure most contracts now, I'm actually positive now, don't have that clause within the contract where
you had a clause in your contract.
Love of the game contract, right, that if I was driving with you down the street and I see a basketball game on the side of the road, I can go play in that basketball game. And if I get hurt, my contract is still guaranteed. I love the game so much that I would never let someone take the opportunity for me to play the game.
Jordan once had something written directly into his contract that almost no modern player would ever agree to. It was called the love of the game clause. That clause meant if Michael Jordan was driving around and saw a pickup game at a local park, he could stop, jump in, and play without facing any penalties. Even getting hurt in that random pickup game wouldn't change a thing because his entire NBA contract stayed fully guaranteed. Jordan loved basketball so much that he made sure no one could ever stop him from playing, even if it meant risking everything. And this wasn't just for show either. He actually used that clause regularly, especially during his summer basketball camps for kids. After all the younger players went to sleep, Jordan would quietly slip out and run. Brutal, no-mercy games against the college players working the camp.
Do you see the players of today's basketball with that mindset to achieve greatness?
It's hard to be hungry when you have. Simple as that. I mean, if you don't have, you are willing to do whatever you have. So my mental approach was go in, do my job, be the best basketball player I can be, and all the chips and everything outside of that, I had people that were handling that, but basketball court, I'm handling.
This was a man who already had rings, already had money, already was the biggest name in sports, and there he was at midnight playing pickup, like his spot still wasn't secure. That's what makes this story feel different, because Jordan wasn't just talking about having fun with basketball. He was proving something deeper about what actually drives players, and this is where the conversation starts getting uncomfortable. Jordan dropped a line most people don't want to hear, but know is true. It's hard to be hungry when you already have everything. In his era, players had to fight for every dollar, every minute, and every ounce of respect. Nothing was handed to them. And when they finally made it, they didn't slow down. They pushed harder because they never forgot what it felt like to have nothing. And they refused to go back to that place.
Now it's like, it's a prerequisite. Everybody has to have a logo. Everybody has to have a...
why, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm part of the reason why everybody tries to get a logo, but
brand, right?
A brand,
right? Brand Jordan.
But the thing is that brand is established based on what I did on the basketball court.
Flashback.
Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnsons, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley's, we earned what we got. When the corporate America came to us, we had a game that could validate their admiration and
sponsorship and all that, yeah.
Now they get that before they play one game.
Today's NBA runs on a completely different system. Players are signing contracts worth $200, $300, even $400 million, while role players who once would have scraped by on minimum deals are now pulling in $20 million a year. Jordan is pointing out what happens after that massive check clears. For too many players, the hunger disappears the moment the money hits. Sitting out for minor injuries becomes normal. The edge fades, and that desperation that earned the contract slowly dies. Jordan backed up his mindset with one of the wildest stories from early in his career. After injuring his foot, doctors warned him there was a 10% chance he could seriously re-injure it if he came back too soon. His agent tried to scare him straight, asking him to imagine 10 pills, with one coated in cyanide, and whether he'd still take the risk. Jordan stared back and calmly asked, "How bad is the headache?" That single response says everything. He was willing to risk his entire career for a 10% chance just to get back on the court sooner. That mindset isn't normal, and that's exactly why he became Michael Jordan, and exactly what he believes is missing from too many players today.
And you know, at that time, it was about 10% chance that I can re-injure my ankle or my foot. He says, if you have a headache and you got 10 tablets and one of them is coated with cyanide, would you take the Tylenol? And I looked at him, I said, how bad is the headache?
The money isn't even the biggest issue Jordan has with modern basketball, because something even worse is happening behind the scenes. And it starts long before players ever step onto an NBA court. Jordan dropped another truth bomb that barely got any attention at all. Today's players are landing brand deals, signature shoes, and massive endorsement contracts before they've played a single professional game. Back in his era, guys like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, and Dr. J had to dominate at the highest level, win games, and pack arenas before companies even noticed them. Jordan explained that when those brands finally came calling, they had already proven who they were on the court. Their game backed up the hype, and their performances justified every dollar being spent on them.
You know, I didn't put the brand before I put the work. Mm-hmm. You know, right. I put the work first, and then the brand evolved based on the work.
Right.
A lot of times it's different. You see it in every sport, not just basketball, football, baseball. Everybody's walking around with a logo and a hat, and I get it. But whatever I did here is never going to affect what I do on the basketball court.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Today's system works completely backwards. If you're a top draft pick and Nike hands you a $50 million shoe deal before your first NBA game, where's the pressure? Where's the desperation? You're already rich, already famous, already set for life. The work is supposed to come before the reward. But in today's NBA, the reward comes first and the work becomes optional. That flips the entire mindset upside down. Jordan understands branding better than almost anyone, considering his brand is now worth billions. The difference is simple though. He never put the brand ahead of the grind. He said it himself. Putting the work first allowed the brand to grow naturally. Everything he built off the court came directly from what he did on it. The dunks, the championships, the clutch shots, the non-stop competitive fire, that's what sold the shoes and built the brand the right way. Today, players are building brands on social media, locking in shoe deals and launching logos and merch before they've won anything that really matters.
As long as you understand that this is always going to be what you're remembered for, basketball and your love for basketball should always be pure. We would play this game, I've always said this, we would play this game for free. We did. And now we just so happen to get paid for it. Generationally, you know, I like to think that most of the time that people will remember Michael Jordan based on what he did on the basketball court, and not always the commercials that he did.
If you can balance both worlds like Cade Cunningham and use that massive Nike deal as fuel to push even harder, that's special. But for every Cade, there are 10 others who get the bag and immediately ease up. Jordan pointed out that now it feels mandatory. Everyone needs a logo. Everyone needs a brand. Even role players are walking around with signature shoes. Back in Jordan's Air era, having your own shoe meant you were elite. It was rare, earned, and respected. Now guys averaging 12 points a night are dropping shoe lines like it's normal. What makes this even crazier is that Jordan's own brand athletes are the clearest examples of the problem he's warning about. Zion Williamson was supposed to be the next chosen one, the next face of the league. And he wears the Jordan logo. He got the rookie max, the shoe deal, the hype, and then vanished. Injuries piled up, conditioning issues showed up, and entire seasons slipped away. Ja Morant tells a similar story. At one point, he was arguably the most exciting player in basketball, dropping unreal highlights every night with electric energy. Then it all fell apart with off-court incidents, suspensions, and straight-up immaturity. He had the whole basketball world in his hands and let it slip. The cruel irony is that both Zion and Ja are Jordan brand athletes, literally wearing Michael Jordan's logo while proving his exact point about why giving players everything too early doesn't work. Jordan built an empire by earning respect through work and winning. These guys were handed the keys to the kingdom and fumbled them fast. And that's why Jordan's criticism goes deeper than money or effort. It's about priorities. What comes first in a player's heart? That's the real message Jordan is trying to send. Michael Jordan wasn't just a great basketball player who happened to get rich. Basketball was his obsession, his first love. He said they would play this game for free because growing up, that's exactly what they did. Getting paid came later. For Jordan, the love was pure, and everything else was just a bonus earned from dominating at the highest level. Today's players move with a completely different mindset. For a lot of them, basketball is just the job that funds what they really care about. Building a brand, growing social media, expanding business ventures, the game comes second or even third, and Jordan sees that as a real problem. If you don't love the game first, you'll never push yourself the way true champions do.
It's just amazing how Michael just became who he was, not just as a player, but an endorser, carrying the league on his back with great players still in the game. Bird's still playing and Magic still playing. I mean, everybody was looking toward Mike.
There's an old saying that fits this perfectly. The hungriest wolf isn't the one standing on top of the hill, it's the one still climbing it. Jordan lived by that. Even after winning multiple championships, he played every night, like he still had something to prove. He showed up ready to destroy whoever was in front of him, refusing to get comfortable when he had every reason to relax. That mindset is what separates legends from everyone else. What made Jordan special went beyond hunger and work ethic, though. He had a rare mix you almost never see in one person. On one side, he was ruthless, ultra-competitive, confident to the point of arrogance, one of the biggest trash talkers the NBA has ever seen. But at the same time, Jordan was deeply humble about the game itself. He never forgot that basketball made everything else possible. He respected the game, respected the fans who paid to watch him, and believed in giving them their money's worth every single night. That mattered to him more than anything, and that mindset is exactly what's missing today. Most athletes only have one side of the equation. They're either humble and hardworking, but lack that killer edge, or they're loud and confident, but lose sight of what actually matters. Michael Jordan had both sides perfectly balanced, and that's exactly why he could carry the NBA without fumbling the moment. The league in the 1990s got incredibly lucky to have Jordan as its face. On the court, he was electric. Violent dunks, ruthless defense, and clutch shot when it mattered most. He showed up almost every night. Off the court, he was magnetic and marketable in a way that went far beyond basketball. But the key part gets overlooked. Mentally, Jordan was wired like a blue-collar worker who knew he had a job to do. Jordan punched the clock and went to work for the fans, a once-in-a-generation talent who also happened to be the hardest worker in the building. Basketball was always priority number one. That combination made him a once-in-a-lifetime perfect storm. That brings us to today and the future of the NBA, because the league is clearly in transition right now. LeBron James is nearing the end. Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant are getting older. The NBA needs new faces to carry the league into the 2030s. Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Edwards. The superstar potential is obvious. And Jordan's warning to them is what this whole conversation has been leading toward. Talent isn't enough. Skill isn't enough. Being exciting isn't enough. If you want to be the face of the NBA the way Jordan was, basketball has to come first. Above money, above fame, above brand building. That's the standard. Playing pickup at midnight even when you're rich. Rushing back to the court despite risk. Showing up every single night, tired or banged up. That's the Jordan blueprint. And his criticism isn't just an old legend talking. It's a warning about what it really takes to lead the league forward. What he's really offering is a serious warning about what happens when priorities get twisted, when the brand comes before the work, when the money comes before the love of the game. The real question is simple. Is anyone actually listening? Are today's young superstars going to take Michael Jordan's warning seriously and rethink how they approach their careers? Or are they going to keep moving the same way and prove him right? Jordan isn't focused on whether individual players succeed or fail. He's worried about the culture of basketball itself. He's questioning whether the next generation truly loves the game the way his generation did. Because when basketball turns into just another job, instead of a passion players can't live without, the entire sport feels it. The quality drops, the effort drops, and the magic that makes basketball special slowly fades away. That's what's really on the line here. And that's why Jordan's criticism matters more than people want to admit. He's someone who genuinely cares about the future of the game and sees warning signs others are choosing to ignore. Whether today's players want to hear it or not, Jordan is asking the questions that actually matter, and how the next generation responds will decide whether the 2030s become another golden era for the NBA or if the league keeps sliding in the wrong direction. So what do you think? Is Jordan right about today's superstars, or is he out of touch with the modern NBA? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if this made you think differently, and share it with someone who needs to hear it.